The Mind Control Files. What MK Ultra victims remember today. The sterile gleam of the institutional corridor remains sharp in Dr. Evelyn Reed's mind, a persistent after-image decades later. Not the kind of corridor you'd find in a modern hospital, but something older, colder. Linoleum that seemed to absorb the light, walls painted an indifferent institutional green or grey. The air itself felt heavy, carrying the faint, mingling sense of antiseptic, something metallic, and the ever-present unsettling undertone of fear. It wasn't a place she was meant to be, not as a patient. She was a researcher, albeit a junior one, tasked with data entry and logistical support for a project she wasn't fully cleared to understand. Yet she remembers being there, strapped into a chair, a cap of electrodes pressed against her skull. The machine hummed, a low, building thrum that vibrated through her bones before the electric shock hit, a blinding white flash behind her eyes, followed by a black void. Then, fragments. Voices, distant and distorted, repetitive phrases, mechanical and insistent. Images, flickering like a broken projector reel. A red room, a symbol she couldn't identify. A feeling of intense cold, then heat. It wasn't a single event, but a series of disjointed experiences over a period of time she cannot precisely measure. Weeks? Months? The timeline is a blur, punctuated by these sharp, terrifying moments. She remembers the feeling of her own mind being pulled apart, rearranged, like a deck of cards shuffled by an unseen, indifferent hand. The stated purpose of her presence there, according to the vague, contradictory explanations she was given between sessions, involved stress tolerance or cognitive resilience testing. But the reality felt far more invasive, more destructive. She wasn't being tested, she was being modified. The memory of waking up in her own apartment, with no recollection of how she got there or how much time had passed, is one of the most terrifying. A gnawing sense of having lost something vital, something that defined her, permeated her existence. She tried to talk about it, subtly at first, with colleagues she thought she could trust. Their reactions ranged from confused dismissal to thinly veiled warnings. "You've been under a lot of pressure, Evelyn. Maybe take some time off." Or more chillingly, "Some things are better left unexamined." The message was clear. Silence was expected, perhaps even enforced. Over the years, the memories didn't fade. They sharpened, but remained fragmented. Like pieces of a shattered mirror, reflecting distorted images of a past she couldn't fully reconstruct. She began searching, quietly at first, then with a growing urgency. Declassified documents, academic papers on government psychological experiments, anecdotal accounts shared in obscure online forums. She pieced together a terrifying mosaic. MK Ultra. The name resonated with a deep, instinctive dread. The program, officially acknowledged but with vast swathes of its activities destroyed or remaining classified, involved human experimentation designed to identify and develop drugs and procedures to be used in interrogations and torture to weaken the individual and force confessions through mind control. Its methods included radiation, electroshock, hypnosis, psychiatry, psychology, sociology, anthropology, graphology, harassment, and a wide range of drugs, including LSD, barbiturates, morphine, heroin, and others. Reading about the documented experiments, the use of LSD on unsuspecting citizens, the attempts to induce amnesia and create alternate personalities, sent a chill down her spine that had nothing to do with the sterile cold of those remembered corridors. It explained the fragments, the confusion, the persistent feeling of having parts of her mind locked away, inaccessible. It explained the sudden shifts in mood, the uncharacteristic anxieties, the phobias that seemed to have no rational origin, a fear of certain colors, certain sounds, certain words. It was as if triggers had been embedded within her psyche, waiting for activation. She wasn't alone. Her search connected her with others who reported similar experiences: lost time, fragmented memories of coercive procedures, inexplicable psychological issues, and a shared sense of having been used in ways they could neither comprehend nor prove. Many had sought professional help, only to be met with skepticism or diagnoses that didn't fully explain the depth and specificity of their trauma. They were often labeled as delusional, suffering from repressed memories, or experiencing the effects of other, less sinister traumas. But the common threads in their disparate accounts were too numerous, too specific, to be easily dismissed. The sterile environments, the dispassionate researchers, the use of drugs and technology aimed at manipulating consciousness. These weren't generic nightmares. They were echoes of a specific, dark chapter in history. Evelyn's quest became not just about understanding her own past, but about validating the experiences of others, about bringing their fragmented memories into the light, demanding acknowledgement for what was done. The trauma wasn't just in the procedures themselves, but in the subsequent silence, the gaslighting, the refusal of society to acknowledge the possibility that its own government could engage in such horrific acts against its citizens. The official narrative of MK-Ultra, based on the surviving documents, paints a disturbing but perhaps incomplete picture. The church committee hearings in the 1970s exposed some of the program's abuses, leading to public outcry and official apologies. But what about the individuals who were experimented upon? The records of their lives, their suffering, were often missing, destroyed, or simply never kept. They became ghosts in the machine, their experiences reduced to rumors and conspiracy theories. For Evelyn, it wasn't theory, it was lived, albeit fragmented reality. The fight wasn't just for historical truth, but for personal reclamation, piecing together the shattered fragments of her identity, understanding which parts were authentically hers and which were the result of external manipulation. The process was arduous, painful, and often led down dead ends. Therapists trained in conventional trauma therapy were often ill-equipped to deal with the complexities of alleged state-sponsored psychological manipulation. The memories were not linear or narrative. They were sensory, emotional, visual, auditory, flashes of experience without connective tissue. Rebuilding the timeline required cross-referencing her own fragmented recollections with historical events, declassified documents, and the shared experiences of other potential victims. It was a collaborative effort, a support network formed out of shared trauma and a common pursuit of truth. They exchanged stories, identified common elements, and offered each other validation in a world that often dismissed their pain. The weight of secrecy, both the government's and the one imposed upon her own fractured psyche, was a constant burden. The fear of being dismissed, ridiculed, or even targeted again for speaking out was real. But the alternative, remaining silent, letting the perpetrators succeed in erasing their experiences, was unacceptable. Her own memories, though incomplete, were a form of resistance. They were proof that something happened, that individuals were subjected to non-consensual experiments designed to break their minds. The sterile corridor, the humming machine, the disembodied voices. These were not figments of her imagination. They were anchors to a terrifying reality, a reality that needed to be acknowledged, understood, and never repeated. Her work now, though no longer in the formal research setting, is dedicated to this pursuit, collecting testimonies, analyzing historical data, and advocating for the recognition of the long-term impact of these programs on individuals and society. The path is long and fraught with obstacles, but the memory of that sterile corridor, the feeling of her mind being manipulated, fuels her resolve. She is a survivor, and her fragmented memories are her testimony. Others she connected with had even more disturbing accounts. Mark, a former soldier, remembers periods of intense disorientation, inexplicable travel to foreign countries with no memory of the journey or the purpose of his presence there. He suffered from severe PTSD, but the triggers didn't align with his combat experiences. Instead, they seemed linked to specific sounds or visual cues, the smell of a certain disinfectant, the sight of a particular geometric pattern. Through years of therapy and research, he began to connect these experiences to rumors within the military community about experimental programs involving soldiers. He found declassified documents mentioning the use of psychoactive drugs on servicemen without their informed consent, testing their effects on performance and obedience. While direct proof linking his specific experiences to MK-Ultra remains elusive, the parallels between his symptoms and the documented goals of the program are striking. He recalls waking up in unfamiliar locations, feeling physically and mentally drained, with cryptic instructions or phrases running through his mind. It was like being a puppet, he described, controlled by unseen strings, only to be returned to consciousness with no memory of the performance. The psychological toll was immense. The inability to trust his own mind, the fear of dissociation, the constant anxiety that he might be manipulated again. His relationships suffered, his career trajectory was derailed, and he lived with a persistent sense of dread. The military offered no explanation, no support, only a wall of silence and bureaucracy. His medical records were incomplete, with inexplicable gaps and vague diagnoses. He felt like he had fallen into a black hole, swallowed by a secret world that left him damaged and discarded. His journey mirrors Evelyn's in many ways. The initial confusion, the search for answers, the validation found in connecting with others who had similar, unexplained experiences. They shared the frustration of facing skepticism from authorities and the medical community. They understood the unique trauma of having one's own mind used as a weapon or a laboratory. Mark's memories, like Evelyn's, were fragmented, sensory, and emotional rather than narrative. He remembered the feeling of being cold, the sound of dripping water, the taste of something metallic, the sensation of being restrained. These sensory details were vivid, while the context and sequence of events were missing. Hypnosis and other therapeutic techniques aimed at recovering repressed memories yielded inconsistent and sometimes contradictory results. A common problem when dealing with alleged trauma involving dissociation and deliberate manipulation of memory. The ethical implications of programs like MK-Ultra are profound and far-reaching. Beyond the individual suffering, they represent a fundamental breach of trust between government and citizens, a violation of basic human rights. The knowledge that such programs existed and that their full scope may never be known creates a climate of suspicion and fear. For the alleged victims, this uncertainty is an ongoing source of trauma. The lack of official acknowledgement for their specific experiences leaves them in a perpetual state of limbo, their reality questioned, their suffering unvalidated. The fight for truth and justice becomes a lifelong endeavor, not just for historical accuracy, but for personal healing and recognition. The stories of Evelyn, Mark, and others like them are not just tales of a dark past. They are a stark reminder of the potential for abuse of power and the enduring legacy of trauma when those abuses are shrouded in secrecy and denial. Their courage in coming forward, in sharing their fragmented memories despite the risks and the skepticism, is a testament to their resilience and their determination to ensure that the truth, however painful, is not buried forever. The sterile corridors may have faded for some, but the echoes of the experiments live on in the minds of those who believe they were its subjects. A haunting reminder of a time when the human mind was considered a frontier for clandestine exploration and control. The pursuit of truth is fraught with challenges, not least of which is the inherent difficulty in distinguishing between genuine memories, confabulations, and the psychological effects of trauma and dissociation. The nature of MK-Ultra, with its documented use of techniques designed to induce amnesia, confusion, and suggestibility, further complicates the process of memory retrieval and verification. Alleged victims often grapple with the possibility that their memories are themselves the result of manipulation, a terrifying thought that adds another layer to their psychological burden. The very tools used to break their minds may have also distorted their recollections of the process. This uncertainty is a constant companion, sowing seeds of doubt in their own experiences. Were those flashes of images real? Did those voices truly speak those words? Or are these the echoes of trauma filtered through a mind that was deliberately fractured? The lack of external validation, missing records, reluctant witnesses, official denial, exacerbates this internal struggle. They are often left with only their own fragmented, unreliable memories as evidence. This is where the shared experiences with other alleged victims become crucial. Finding common patterns, recurring symbols, similar methods described across multiple independent accounts provides a degree of external validation, a sense that they are not alone in their experiences and that their memories, however fragmented, may reflect a shared, albeit terrifying, reality. The symbol Evelyn remembers seeing, the red room, the specific phrases repeated, finding these same elements in the accounts of others strengthens the credibility of her own recollections, not as definitive proof of MK-Ultra experimentation, but as strong indicators of exposure to similar, perhaps related, clandestine programs or techniques. It's a form of collective memory reconstruction, piecing together a larger picture from individual shards of experience. This process, while validating, is also emotionally taxing. Hearing the harrowing accounts of others can trigger their own trauma, reinforcing the horror of what they may have endured. Yet the solidarity provides strength, the shared understanding a balm against the isolation. They form a community of the wounded, united by their pursuit of truth and healing. The legal and political avenues for redress have proven largely ineffective. The destruction of most MK-Ultra records makes it nearly impossible to build a solid legal case. The statute of limitations has long expired for most potential claims, and the political will to conduct a new, comprehensive investigation into the program's full scope and impact is limited. The focus has shifted from legal action to historical and personal reclamation. The goal is no longer necessarily compensation or prosecution, but acknowledgement, understanding, and the prevention of similar abuses in the future. Their fight is for the historical record, to ensure that the stories of individuals are not lost in the abstract discussion of government programs and declassified documents. They want their faces, their names, their suffering to be part of the narrative, not just footnotes. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, is itself an act of defiance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It's a way of reclaiming agency, of transforming from passive subjects of experimentation into active narrators of their own history, however painful and incomplete that history may be. The lasting effects on their lives are undeniable. Chronic physical ailments with no clear medical explanation, persistent psychological distress, difficulty forming and maintaining stable relationships, challenges in professional life. The trauma extends beyond the memories themselves, permeating every aspect of their existence. They live with the knowledge that they were potentially manipulated, their minds accessed and altered without consent, leaving them with a profound sense of vulnerability and a deep distrust of authority. This distrust is not paranoia. It is a learned response based on their experiences. The very institutions that were supposed to protect them may have been the source of their suffering. This realization is deeply isolating and further compounds the trauma. They often feel like outsiders, living in a world that cannot comprehend the reality they inhabit, a world where the line between reality and manipulation was deliberately blurred. The search for answers becomes a central organizing principle in their lives, a quest that provides meaning and purpose in the face of overwhelming confusion and pain. It is a difficult path, fraught with setbacks, but also punctuated by moments of discovery, connection, and validation. The fragmented memories are not just a source of pain. They are also the starting point for reconstruction, for understanding, and ultimately, for healing. The process is slow, non-linear, and requires immense courage and perseverance. They are explorers of their own damaged landscapes, navigating the treacherous terrain of fragmented recollections in the hope of finding a path to wholeness. The sterile gleam of the corridor, the hum of the machine, the disembodied voices. These are the landmarks in their journey, guiding them through the fog of memory towards a truth that remains partially obscured but is undeniably real to them. Their stories are a chilling reminder that the past is not always past, and that the consequences of secret programs can reverberate through the lives of individuals for decades. The psychological impact is perhaps the most enduring and debilitating. The memories, or fragments of them, are often emotionally charged, carrying intense feelings of fear, helplessness, confusion, and betrayal. These emotions can surface unexpectedly, triggered by mundane events or even seemingly random associations, causing flashbacks, panic attacks, and periods of intense distress. The difficulty in distinguishing between genuine memories and confabulated ones, coupled with the possibility that their minds were deliberately manipulated to create false memories or distort real ones, adds another layer of complexity to their psychological recovery. Therapists working with alleged victims of MK-Ultra-style programs face unique challenges. Conventional trauma therapies may not be sufficient to address the specific nature of the trauma, which involves not only the traumatic events themselves, but also the deliberate manipulation of identity and memory. Techniques like hypnosis, which might be used to recover repressed memories in other contexts, are viewed with caution due to the potential for suggestibility and the risk of further manipulating a mind that may have already been subjected to such techniques. The process of reclaiming one's sense of self is central to healing. For individuals who believe their identities were deliberately targeted and manipulated, this is a profound and challenging task. They grapple with questions of who they truly are, which aspects of their personality are authentic, and which may have been implanted or influenced by external forces. This identity confusion can be deeply destabilizing, affecting their sense of self-worth and their ability to form stable relationships. The search for external validation becomes even more critical in this context. Finding others with similar experiences provides a sense of not being alone or delusional. It helps to normalize their experiences and provides a framework for understanding what they may have gone through. Support groups, online forums, and advocacy networks become vital resources for these individuals, offering a space to share their stories, receive support, and collaborate in their search for truth and acknowledgement. The historical context of MKUltra, while providing a framework for understanding, also highlights the difficulty of verification. The documented experiments represent only a fraction of the program's activities, and many of the most controversial claims of survivors involve techniques and procedures that were either never officially documented or for which records were destroyed. This lack of official confirmation leaves alleged victims in a difficult position, often struggling to prove that their experiences are real and not simply the product of psychological distress or imaginative interpretation. The burden of proof is placed squarely on their shoulders, a heavy weight to bear for individuals who have already been deeply traumatized. The narrative of MKUltra is often discussed in abstract terms: government overreach, ethical violations, Cold War paranoia. But for the alleged victims, it is deeply personal. It is the story of their lives, their minds, their identities being targeted and manipulated. Their fragmented memories are not just historical footnotes. They are the living evidence of a program that had a profound and lasting impact on their existence. The ongoing struggle for acknowledgement and truth is not just about uncovering the past. It is about healing the present and preventing the future. By sharing their stories, they hope to raise awareness, educate the public, and advocate for greater transparency and accountability from government agencies. They want to ensure that the lessons learned from MKUltra are not forgotten, and that such egregious violations of human rights are never allowed to happen again. The sterile corridors and humming machines may belong to a specific historical period, but the potential for similar forms of manipulation and control remains a relevant concern in an age of advanced technology and increasing surveillance. The experiences of alleged MKUltra victims serve as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the vulnerability of the human mind and the importance of safeguarding individual autonomy and freedom of thought. Their fragmented memories are a haunting legacy, a testament to the enduring impact of state-sponsored psychological experimentation and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable trauma. The struggle for truth continues, driven by the courage and determination of those who refuse to let their experiences be erased or denied. The act of sharing their stories is an act of reclaiming their voice and their history. The search for definitive proof remains elusive for many alleged victims. The destruction of records, the passage of time, and the inherent difficulty in scientifically verifying claims related to subjective experiences and manipulated memory present formidable obstacles. This lack of concrete evidence often leaves them vulnerable to skepticism and dismissal, further exacerbating their sense of isolation and frustration. They are frequently confronted with questions about the reliability of their memories, the possibility of false memories, and the influence of external information, such as documentaries, books, and online forums about MKUltra, on their recollections. While it is true that memory is fallible and can be influenced by various factors, dismissing all such accounts as simply the product of suggestion or delusion ignores the possibility that these individuals are grappling with the authentic, albeit fragmented and distorted, effects of traumatic experiences rooted in clandestine programs. The psychological landscape of an alleged victim is complex. Years of dealing with unexplained symptoms, memory gaps, and a pervasive sense of having been wronged can lead to secondary psychological issues, such as anxiety, depression, and complex trauma. The search for answers itself can become an all-consuming quest, sometimes blurring the lines between healthy investigation and obsessive preoccupation. This is another area where support from understanding therapists and a community of peers is crucial. Navigating the complexities of their past requires not only courage, but also careful guidance to avoid falling into pitfalls of unsubstantiated claims or unproductive fixation. The focus needs to be on processing the trauma, integrating the fragmented memories as best as possible, and building a life in the present while still pursuing truth and acknowledgement. Many alleged victims have developed sophisticated strategies for coping and investigating. They have learned to analyze declassified documents, cross-reference information, and critically evaluate the vast amount of material available on MKUltra and related topics. They have become citizen investigators, dedicating significant time and resources to uncovering the truth about their pasts. This process is not without its risks. Delving into the dark history of these programs can be emotionally re-traumatizing, and the pursuit of information can sometimes lead them into contact with individuals or groups who may exploit their vulnerability or promote unsubstantiated theories. The distinction between credible information and speculative claims becomes particularly important in this context. While the official record of MKUltra is undeniably disturbing, the program has also become a focal point for various conspiracy theories, some of which extend far beyond the documented activities. Navigating this landscape requires discernment and a grounded approach, focusing on verifiable information while acknowledging the limitations of what is known. The goal for many alleged victims is not to prove a specific, elaborate conspiracy, but rather to understand and validate their personal experiences within the known historical context of government experimentation. They are not necessarily seeking to expose a vast, ongoing conspiracy, but rather to make sense of the trauma they have endured and to receive acknowledgement for the harm they have suffered. The struggle for acknowledgement extends beyond official channels. They also seek validation from their families, friends, and the wider community. However, the often unusual nature of their experiences can make it difficult for loved ones to fully comprehend and believe their accounts, leading to strain in relationships and further feelings of isolation. This lack of understanding from those closest to them can be particularly painful. The burden of carrying these experiences in silence or facing skepticism from their support network adds another layer of trauma. The act of sharing their stories publicly, through interviews, books, or participation in documentaries, is therefore a significant step, requiring immense bravery. It is a way of breaking the silence, challenging the skepticism, and demanding to be heard. These public accounts, while not always providing definitive proof, serve to humanize the abstract history of MKUltra, putting a face and a voice to the potential victims of these programs. They remind us that behind the declassified documents and historical reports are real people whose lives were profoundly impacted by these experiments. Their fragmented memories, though difficult to verify, are a powerful testament to the enduring legacy of trauma and the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths about the past. The fight for recognition is ongoing, a slow process of challenging established narratives and demanding that the voices of those who believe they were harmed be heard and acknowledged. The path to healing is long and arduous, but for many alleged victims, the pursuit of truth and acknowledgement is an integral part of that journey. It is a way of reclaiming their history, their dignity, and their sense of self in the aftermath of trauma that sought to strip them of all three. The sterile environments, the invasive procedures, the deliberate confusion. These elements are woven into the fabric of their fragmented memories, a constant reminder of a past they cannot fully escape, but are determined to understand. The impact on intergenerational trauma is another critical, though less documented aspect. Children and grandchildren of alleged victims often grow up in environments shaped by the trauma of their parents or grandparents. They may witness their loved ones struggling with psychological issues, memory problems, and a pervasive sense of unease or fear. The secrecy surrounding these experiences, The difficulty in discussing them openly and the lack of external validation can create a climate of unspoken tension and unresolved pain within families. Children may absorb the anxiety and distrust of their parents, developing their own psychological issues as a result. They may also inherit the fragmented narratives, the half-told stories, and the unanswered questions about their family history. This can lead to a complex form of secondary trauma, where the effects of the original events are passed down through generations, even if the specifics are not fully understood. The difficulty in obtaining clear, verifiable information about their parents' or grandparents' experiences within the context of MK-Ultra or similar programs makes it challenging for subsequent generations to fully process this inherited trauma. They may embark on their own searches for truth, trying to piece together the fragmented narratives and understand the source of their family's pain. This intergenerational quest for understanding adds another layer to the complex legacy of these programs. It highlights how the impact of state-sponsored psychological manipulation can extend far beyond the direct victims, affecting the fabric of families and communities for decades. The lack of official acknowledgement and historical transparency exacerbates this problem, leaving families without the resources or support they need to address the intergenerational trauma. Discussing such sensitive and controversial topics openly can be difficult within families, especially if the original victims struggled to articulate their experiences or faced disbelief from others. The fear of being seen as delusional or conspiracy-minded can lead to silence and secrecy, preventing healing and understanding. Support networks that include family members of alleged victims are therefore crucial. They provide a space for sharing experiences, understanding the intergenerational impact of trauma, and developing strategies for healing and resilience. These networks help to break the cycle of silence and secrecy, fostering open communication and providing a sense of shared purpose in the pursuit of truth and healing. The scientific community also grapples with the challenge of how to approach the accounts of alleged MK-Ultra victims. While acknowledging the documented history of the program and the ethical violations involved, researchers are also cautious about the reliability of memory, particularly in cases of trauma and dissociation. The scientific study of memory is complex, and distinguishing between accurate recollections, false memories, and confabulations is a significant challenge. This scientific skepticism, while rooted in methodological rigor, can sometimes feel dismissive to alleged victims who are struggling to have their experiences validated. Finding a balance between scientific caution and compassionate engagement with survivor accounts is crucial. Researchers and clinicians can play a vital role in helping individuals process their trauma, explore their memories in a safe and supported environment, and integrate their experiences into a coherent narrative, even if definitive external verification is not possible. The focus can shift from proving the historical accuracy of every detail to understanding the psychological impact of the belief that one was subjected to such experiments and helping individuals heal from that trauma. This approach acknowledges the reality of their suffering, regardless of whether every aspect of their memory can be externally validated. The ethical responsibility of society extends beyond acknowledging the documented history of MK-Ultra. It includes addressing the ongoing impact on individuals and families who believe they were harmed by the program and providing them with the support and resources they need to heal. This includes access to trauma-informed therapy, opportunities for validation and acknowledgement, and support in their search for truth. The stories of alleged victims, though fragmented and sometimes difficult to verify, are a powerful reminder of the human cost of clandestine programs and the enduring importance of transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. Their fragmented memories are not just remnants of a dark past. They are living testimonies to the resilience of the human spirit and the ongoing struggle for truth and justice. The sterile environments, the pervasive fear, the feeling of being controlled, these elements remain vivid in their recollections, a haunting reminder of a past that continues to shape their present. The path forward involves acknowledging their pain, supporting their search for understanding, and ensuring that the lessons of MK Ultra are never forgotten. The psychological scars run deep, manifesting not only in fragmented memories, but in pervasive distrust, difficulty with authority figures, and a heightened sense of vulnerability. Many alleged victims report feeling constantly surveilled or monitored, a lingering effect of the paranoia and secrecy that surrounded the programs. This hypervigilance can make it difficult to form trusting relationships and live a life free from anxiety. They may also struggle with dissociation, feeling disconnected from their own bodies or emotions, a coping mechanism developed during traumatic experiences where they couldn't escape. Dissociation can further complicate memory retrieval, making it harder to access and integrate fragmented recollections. The process of grounding and reconnecting with the present moment is a crucial part of their therapeutic journey. The physical health consequences are also often reported, including chronic pain, digestive issues, autoimmune disorders, and other ailments that defy conventional medical explanation. While it is difficult to definitively link these physical symptoms directly to alleged MK Ultra experiments without medical records or further investigation, the literature on the long-term physical effects of chronic stress and trauma, particularly complex trauma involving dissociation and abuse, suggests a plausible connection. The mind-body connection is powerful, and prolonged exposure to extreme stress and psychological manipulation can manifest in a wide range of physical symptoms. The lack of medical acknowledgement or understanding of these physical ailments can add to the burden of alleged victims, leaving them feeling misunderstood and uncared for by the medical system. Finding healthcare providers who are trauma-informed and willing to consider the potential link between their physical symptoms and their traumatic past is a significant challenge. The financial impact of these experiences can also be substantial. The psychological and physical effects often make it difficult for alleged victims to maintain stable employment, leading to financial instability and hardship. The cost of therapy, medical care, and their ongoing search for answers can also be a significant financial burden. This economic vulnerability can further exacerbate their stress and make it more difficult to access the resources they need for healing. The lack of legal recourse and compensation for the harm they have suffered means that they are often left to bear these financial burdens on their own. Advocacy efforts are not only focused on historical truth and psychological healing, but also on addressing the practical needs of alleged victims, including access to affordable healthcare, psychological support, and financial assistance. The goal is to provide them with the resources they need to rebuild their lives and live with dignity. The public perception of alleged MK Ultra victims is often shaped by popular culture, which tends to sensationalize and fictionalize the program. This can make it difficult for the public to understand the reality of their experiences and can contribute to skepticism and dismissal. Countering these stereotypes and presenting a more nuanced and humanizing portrayal of alleged victims is an important aspect of advocacy work. Sharing their personal stories in their own words, through documentaries, interviews, and written accounts, is a powerful way to challenge stereotypes and build empathy. The media plays a crucial role in shaping public perception, and responsible journalism that focuses on the documented history of MK Ultra and the lived experiences of alleged victims is essential. The focus should be on providing accurate information, avoiding sensationalism, and treating alleged victims with respect and dignity. The long-term impact of MK Ultra extends beyond the individuals directly affected. It has contributed to a climate of public distrust in government institutions, particularly intelligence agencies. The knowledge that the government engaged in secret, non-consensual human experimentation has fueled conspiracy theories and eroded public confidence. Addressing this legacy of distrust requires transparency, accountability, and a commitment to upholding ethical standards in all government activities. The fragmented memories of alleged victims are a constant reminder of the potential for abuse of power when secrecy and a disregard for human rights prevail. Their stories serve as a cautionary tale, urging vigilance and demanding that such abuses are never repeated. The search for truth and justice is a shared responsibility, involving not only the alleged victims themselves, but also the historical community, the scientific community, the media, and the public. Only through a collective effort can the full scope of MKUltra's impact be understood, and its legacy be addressed in a way that honors the experiences of those who were harmed. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be confined to the past, but their echoes continue to resonate in the lives of alleged victims, a haunting testament to a history that demands acknowledgement and understanding. The struggle for healing and truth continues, driven by the resilience and determination of those who refuse to let their experiences be silenced or forgotten. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The memories, though fragmented and often unreliable in their narrative structure, carry a profound emotional weight. The terror of helplessness, the confusion of disorientation, the deep sense of betrayal. These emotions are vivid and persistent, forming the core of many alleged victims' recollections. The sensory details, the cold touch of metal, the acrid smell of chemicals, the disembodied voices, are often clearer than the sequence of events. This is consistent with how the brain processes trauma, often storing sensory and emotional information more vividly than chronological narrative. Therapies that focus on processing somatic, body-based, and emotional experiences rather than solely on narrative reconstruction can be particularly helpful for alleged victims. Techniques like eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, somatic experiencing, and trauma-informed yoga can help individuals process and integrate the traumatic sensory and emotional fragments of their memories. The therapeutic process is often non-linear, involving periods of intense emotional processing followed by periods of integration and stabilization. It requires a patient and skilled therapist who is knowledgeable about complex trauma, dissociation, and the potential effects of coercive control and manipulation. Building a trusting therapeutic relationship is paramount, as many alleged victims have a deep-seated distrust of authority figures and institutions. The therapist becomes a safe harbor, a consistent presence in a world that has felt unpredictable and threatening. The process of external validation, as mentioned earlier, is also crucial for therapeutic progress. When a therapist or support group acknowledges the possibility that their experiences are rooted in real events, it can significantly reduce the burden of self-doubt and facilitate healing. This doesn't necessarily require the therapist to definitively confirm that the individual was an MKUltra subject, but rather to validate the reality of their suffering and the plausibility of their experiences within the known historical context. The therapeutic journey is not about recovering a perfect linear memory of the past, but about integrating the fragmented pieces in a way that allows the individual to make sense of their experiences, process the associated emotions, and build a more coherent sense of self. It is about moving from being defined by their trauma to being a survivor who has integrated their experiences into their life story. The concept of dissociative identity disorder, DID, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, is sometimes raised in discussions about alleged MKUltra victims. Some theories suggest that certain MKUltra experiments aimed to create alternate personalities for purposes such as espionage or unwitting courier tasks. While DID is a recognized psychological disorder that can result from severe childhood trauma, The idea of it being deliberately induced by government programs is highly controversial and difficult to prove. Some alleged victims do report experiencing dissociative phenomena or the presence of distinct personality states, while others do not. The relationship between alleged MK-Ultra experimentation and DID remains a subject of debate and requires careful clinical assessment, avoiding suggestive techniques that could inadvertently create or reinforce false memories or personality states. The focus of therapy, regardless of diagnostic labels, should be on healing the underlying trauma and promoting integration and wholeness. The ethical implications of manipulating human consciousness for any purpose are profound. The alleged goals of MK-Ultra, to control behavior, induce amnesia, and create unwitting agents, represent a fundamental violation of human autonomy and dignity. The long-term consequences of such manipulation, as evidenced by the fragmented memories and ongoing struggles of alleged victims, highlight the inherent dangers of treating the human mind as a tool to be engineered and controlled. The legacy of MK-Ultra serves as a stark warning about the potential for scientific knowledge and technological advancements to be used for harmful and unethical purposes. It underscores the importance of ethical oversight in research, transparency in government activities, and the protection of individual rights and freedoms. The fragmented memories of alleged victims are not just personal stories of suffering. They are a collective call for vigilance and accountability. They remind us that the past, even its darkest chapters, has a direct and lasting impact on the present, and that confronting uncomfortable truths is essential for building a just and ethical future. The sterile corridors and humming machines may have been physical spaces and tools of the past, but the psychological and societal echoes of their use continue to reverberate, demanding attention, understanding, and healing. The ongoing search for truth is an act of courage and resilience, a testament to the enduring human need for meaning, validation, and justice in the face of profound trauma and historical injustice. The act of remembering, even in fragments, is an act of resistance against the forces that sought to erase their experiences and control their minds. The psychological impact extends beyond memory gaps and dissociation. Many alleged victims report experiencing intense paranoia, not just as a general sense of distrust, but specifically tied to the belief that they are still being monitored or targeted. This can manifest as a fear of technology, phones being tapped, computers being hacked, a suspicion of strangers, and a constant feeling of being watched. While some level of distrust is understandable given the context, clinical paranoia can significantly impair their ability to function and build healthy relationships. Addressing this paranoia requires a delicate balance in therapy, validating the historical reality of surveillance and manipulation while also helping the individual develop coping mechanisms and distinguish between past threats and present reality. The fear of activation or triggering is another significant issue. Alleged victims may live in fear that specific words, symbols, sounds, or situations could trigger implanted programming or intense traumatic flashbacks. This fear can lead to avoidance behaviors, limiting their lives and social interactions. Identifying and processing these triggers in a safe, therapeutic environment is a crucial part of healing. This might involve techniques like desensitization, where individuals are gradually exposed to triggers in a controlled setting while learning coping skills. The process is slow and challenging, requiring immense trust and patience. The social and professional lives of alleged victims are often severely impacted. Difficulty maintaining employment due to psychological distress, memory problems, or paranoia is common. Strained relationships with family and friends who may not understand or believe their experiences can lead to social isolation. The feeling of being fundamentally different or damaged can make it hard to connect with others. Finding a community of understanding individuals, such as support groups for survivors of trauma or those who believe they were affected by MK-Ultra, can be incredibly helpful in combating this isolation. These communities provide a space where individuals can share their experiences without fear of judgment and receive validation from others who have walked a similar path. The search for information can also become a central focus, sometimes to the detriment of other aspects of their lives. While investigating one's past is a valid and often necessary part of healing, becoming solely consumed by the search can perpetuate trauma and prevent integration into the present. Therapists can help individuals find a healthy balance between investigating their past and building a fulfilling life in the present. The legal and ethical landscape surrounding MK-Ultra remains complex. While the program was officially shut down and some information declassified, the full scope of its activities and the fate of many potential victims remain unknown. The destruction of records was a significant blow to accountability and justice. Advocacy efforts continue to push for further declassification of documents and a more comprehensive historical accounting of the program's impact. This includes calling for investigations into specific claims of individuals who believe they were harmed and providing resources for those seeking to understand their past. The narrative of MK-Ultra is not just a historical footnote. It is a living issue for those who believe they were its subjects. Their fragmented memories are a testament to the enduring power of trauma and the importance of acknowledging even the darkest chapters of history. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be gone, but the psychological and societal echoes of MK-Ultra continue to resonate, demanding attention, understanding, and a commitment to ensuring that such abuses are never repeated. The resilience of alleged victims in the face of unimaginable trauma and skepticism is remarkable. Their willingness to share their stories, despite the pain and the risk, is a powerful act of courage and a vital contribution to our understanding of this dark period in history. The fight for truth and healing continues, driven by the unwavering determination of those who refuse to let their experiences be erased or denied. Their fragmented memories are a powerful reminder that the past is not always past, and that the pursuit of justice and accountability is a long and arduous journey. The process of navigating and making sense of fragmented memories is often painstaking and requires a combination of therapeutic work, personal investigation, and external support. For many alleged victims, their memories are not like a clear video recording, but more like a collection of unsettling snapshots, sounds, and sensations. They might recall the feeling of a cold metal table against their back, the sterile smell of a room, the disembodied voice of a person giving instructions, or a flash of a specific image or symbol. These sensory and emotional fragments can be incredibly vivid, yet they lack context, sequence, and a clear narrative. This lack of narrative makes it difficult to place the experiences in time, understand their purpose, or identify the individuals involved. It's like having pieces of a puzzle without the box art to guide you. The work of therapy often involves helping the individual explore these fragments in a safe environment, allowing the associated emotions and sensations to surface and be processed. Techniques like guided imagery or focusing on bodily sensations can be used to access these non-narrative memories. The goal is not necessarily to create a complete, perfect narrative, but to help the individual integrate these fragmented pieces into their understanding of themselves and their history. This integration process is crucial for healing, as it helps to reduce the feeling of being controlled by unknown and disconnected experiences. External validation plays a significant role in this process. When alleged victims find information that resonates with their fragmented memories, declassified documents describing similar procedures, accounts from other individuals reporting similar experiences, or historical context about the facilities or personnel potentially involved, it can provide crucial anchors that help them connect the pieces. This validation can be incredibly powerful, reducing self-doubt and providing a sense of agency in their search for truth. However, it is also important to approach external information critically, as the landscape of information surrounding MKUltra is vast and includes both credible sources and unsubstantiated claims. A therapist or support group can help individuals navigate this information and avoid becoming overwhelmed or misled. The legal and political obstacles to achieving justice for alleged victims remain significant. The destruction of records, the passage of time, and the inherent difficulty in proving claims related to subjective experiences and manipulated memory make legal action challenging. While some victims of specific, well-documented MKUltra experiments, such as the LSD experiments on unwitting individuals, have received apologies or settlements, the vast majority of those with more fragmented or controversial claims have not. Advocacy efforts are increasingly focused on non-legal avenues, such as historical recognition, public education, and demanding greater transparency from government agencies regarding remaining classified information. The goal is to ensure that the stories of alleged victims are not erased from the historical record and that their suffering is acknowledged. The fight for acknowledgement is not just about the past. It is also about the present and the future. By highlighting the ethical violations and human cost of programs like MKUltra, alleged victims and their advocates seek to prevent similar abuses from happening again. They advocate for stronger ethical guidelines in research, greater transparency in government activities, and increased oversight of intelligence agencies. Their fragmented memories serve as a powerful reminder of the potential for abuse of power when secrecy and a disregard for human rights prevail. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark chapter in history, but their echoes continue to resonate in the lives of alleged victims, demanding attention and a commitment to justice and accountability. The resilience of these individuals in the face of profound trauma, skepticism, and historical injustice is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their willingness to share their fragmented memories and push for truth is a vital contribution to our collective understanding of the past and a crucial step towards building a more ethical future. The process of healing is ongoing, a journey of piecing together fragmented memories, processing complex emotions, and reclaiming a sense of self in the aftermath of trauma. It is a difficult path, but one that is undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The struggle for acknowledgement and understanding continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced. The impact on their lives has been profound and multifaceted, extending far beyond the initial traumatic experiences. Many alleged victims describe a persistent feeling of being different, of not quite belonging in the normal world. This stems from carrying the weight of their unusual and often unbelievable experiences, coupled with the lack of validation from mainstream society. They may feel isolated and misunderstood, struggling to connect with others on a deep level because they harbor secrets or memories that are too disturbing or difficult to articulate. This sense of alienation can lead to further psychological distress, including depression and anxiety. The difficulty in trusting others, particularly authority figures, is another significant long-term effect. Having potentially been betrayed and manipulated by institutions they should have been able to trust, alleged victims often develop a deep-seated skepticism and wariness of authority. This can make it challenging to interact with doctors, therapists, law enforcement, and other institutional representatives, even when seeking help. Building trust with a therapist, for example, can take a significant amount of time and effort. The process requires consistency, transparency, and a genuine commitment from the therapist to create a safe and validating space. For those who experienced alleged coercion or manipulation, the concept of informed consent takes on a particularly poignant meaning. Their experiences represent a profound violation of their autonomy and the right to self-determination. Reclaiming their sense of agency becomes a central part of their healing journey. This might involve making conscious choices about how they live their lives, setting boundaries in relationships, and actively participating in advocacy or support networks. The act of telling their story, even in fragments, is a way of reclaiming their voice and asserting their right to be heard. The search for historical truth is not just an intellectual exercise, it is deeply personal and intertwined with their process of healing. Finding evidence that corroborates aspects of their fragmented memories can be incredibly validating and help them integrate their experiences into a more coherent life narrative. However, the limitations of the historical record mean that definitive proof is often elusive, and alleged victims may need to find ways to make peace with the inherent uncertainty of their past. Focusing solely on proving their claims can sometimes become an obstacle to healing if it prevents them from processing the emotional trauma and building a life in the present. A balanced approach that acknowledges the importance of truth-seeking while prioritizing emotional well-being is essential. The concept of post-traumatic growth is also relevant to the experiences of some alleged victims. Despite the profound trauma they have endured, some individuals find ways to grow and develop resilience as a result of their experiences. This might involve developing a greater appreciation for life, forming deeper connections with others who have shared similar experiences, or dedicating their lives to advocating for justice and human rights. While their trauma is undeniable, their journey is not solely defined by suffering. It is also a testament to the remarkable capacity of the human spirit to survive, adapt, and even thrive in the face of unimaginable adversity. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are not just remnants of a dark past. They are a powerful call to action. They demand that we acknowledge the potential for abuse of power, the importance of transparency and accountability, and the enduring need to protect individual autonomy and dignity. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be gone, but their echoes continue to resonate, reminding us that the lessons of history must be learned and that the pursuit of truth and justice is an ongoing responsibility for all of us. The resilience of these individuals, their willingness to share their stories, and their unwavering commitment to seeking understanding and validation serve as an inspiration and a challenge to confront the uncomfortable truths of the past and work towards a more ethical and just future. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history and demanding that the voices of those who were silenced are finally heard. The legacy of secrecy and denial surrounding MKUltra has had a chilling effect on the ability of alleged victims to seek and receive help. The fear of not being believed, of being labeled as mentally ill or delusional, has often prevented them from disclosing their experiences to medical professionals, therapists, or even loved ones. This self-imposed silence, born out of past invalidation or fear of re-traumatization, compounds their suffering and delays access to necessary support. The medical and mental health communities have, at times, been ill-equipped or unwilling to address the complex trauma associated with alleged state-sponsored abuse. Traditional diagnostic frameworks and therapeutic approaches may not fully account for the unique dynamics of coercive control, identity manipulation, and the potential for deliberately induced memory problems. There is a growing need for trauma-informed care that is specifically tailored to the experiences of individuals who believe they were subjected to programs like MKUltra, acknowledging the possibility of such experiences within a historical context, while providing compassionate and evidence-based support. This includes training for mental health professionals on the history of government experimentation, the dynamics of coercive control, and best practices for working with complex trauma and dissociative symptoms in this population. The role of advocacy organizations and support networks has been crucial in filling this gap. These groups provide a safe space for alleged victims to share their stories, receive peer support, and access resources and information that may not be available through mainstream channels. They also play a vital role in raising public awareness, advocating for policy changes, and demanding accountability from government institutions. The process of healing is often a long and arduous journey, involving multiple forms of therapy, personal exploration, and ongoing support. It is not a linear process, and there may be periods of progress followed by setbacks. Relapses in symptoms, resurfacing of fragmented memories, and challenges in managing daily life are not uncommon. Resilience in the face of these ongoing challenges is a hallmark of alleged victims' experiences. They have learned to cope with uncertainty, manage intense emotions, and navigate a world that often feels alienating and unsupportive. Their capacity for survival and their determination to find meaning and healing in the aftermath of trauma are truly remarkable. The fragmented nature of their memories can sometimes make it difficult to distinguish between what happened and what might have been suggested or confabulated, particularly given the documented use of techniques aimed at manipulating memory. This internal uncertainty adds another layer of psychological burden. Working with a therapist who is skilled in differentiating between different types of memories and processing trauma in a way that promotes integration rather than suggestion is essential. The goal is to help the individual build a cohesive sense of self and history, even if some aspects remain unclear or unverifiable. The historical context of MKUltra provides a crucial framework for understanding the plausibility of alleged victims' experiences. The documented experiments, while disturbing, represent only the tip of the iceberg, and it is likely that other, more extreme, and less documented activities were conducted. While it may be impossible to definitively prove every claim made by alleged victims, the sheer volume and consistency of certain reported elements across multiple independent accounts suggest that a deeper and more comprehensive investigation into the full scope of MKUltra and related programs is warranted. The stories of alleged victims are a chilling reminder of the potential for abuse of power within secret government programs. Their fragmented memories, though difficult to verify, are a powerful testament to the human cost of such programs and the enduring importance of transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The resilience and determination of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing are an inspiration and a call to action for all of us. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives of suffering. They are a vital part of a larger, unfinished historical record that demands to be acknowledged and understood. The lasting effects of alleged MKUltra experiments are woven into the fabric of daily life for survivors. Simple tasks can become challenging due to memory problems or difficulty concentrating. Navigating social situations can be fraught with anxiety due to a lack of trust or fear of triggers. The constant internal struggle with fragmented memories and unresolved trauma can be exhausting, draining their energy and making it difficult to engage fully with the present moment. Some alleged victims have developed intricate coping mechanisms to manage their symptoms and navigate their daily lives. These might include elaborate organizational systems to compensate for memory gaps, avoidance strategies to steer clear of potential triggers, or rituals to manage anxiety. While these coping mechanisms can be effective in the short term, they can also be limiting and prevent true healing and integration. Therapy often involves helping individuals develop more adaptive coping strategies and reduce their reliance on avoidance behaviors. The financial impact, as mentioned earlier, is often significant. The inability to maintain stable employment due to psychological or physical health issues can lead to chronic financial strain. This can create a vicious cycle where financial stress exacerbates their psychological symptoms, making it even harder to work. Access to disability benefits or other forms of financial assistance can be challenging due to the difficulty in obtaining formal diagnoses or verifiable documentation linking their symptoms to alleged government experiments. Advocacy efforts are needed to address these systemic barriers and ensure that alleged victims have access to the financial and medical support they need. The public perception of alleged MKUltra victims is often complex and contradictory. While some people are sympathetic and believe their accounts, others are skeptical and dismissive, viewing them through the lens of mental illness or conspiracy theories. This societal response adds another layer of difficulty for alleged victims, as they constantly face the challenge of being believed and validated. The media plays a crucial role in shaping public perception, and responsible reporting that highlights the documented history of MKUltra and the human impact on individuals can help to counter skepticism and build empathy. Documentaries, books, and articles that feature the personal stories of alleged victims in a respectful and nuanced way can be powerful tools for public education and awareness. The intergenerational impact of trauma is also a significant concern. Children and grandchildren of alleged victims may experience secondary trauma, inheriting the emotional burden, fear, and distrust of their parents or grandparents. This can affect their own mental health and well-being, perpetuating the cycle of trauma across generations. Addressing this intergenerational trauma requires open communication within families, access to trauma-informed therapy for all affected individuals, and a societal acknowledgement of the long-term impact of programs like MKUltra. The fragmented memories of alleged victims are not just isolated psychological phenomena. They are deeply intertwined with historical, social, and political contexts. They are a product of a specific period of history when government agencies engaged in secret and unethical human experimentation. Understanding their experiences requires a holistic approach that considers the individual's psychological state within the broader historical and societal landscape. The ongoing search for truth and justice is not just about uncovering the past. It is about building a more ethical and transparent future. By sharing their stories, alleged victims are contributing to a larger movement for accountability and human rights. They are demanding that the lessons learned from MKUltra are not forgotten and that such abuses are never allowed to happen again. Their fragmented memories are a powerful testament to the enduring resilience of the human spirit and the importance of confronting even the darkest chapters of history. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, reminding us of the ongoing need for vigilance and a commitment to protecting individual autonomy and dignity. The fight for acknowledgement and understanding continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The challenge of achieving closure is particularly complex for alleged MKUltra victims. Unlike traditional trauma, where there might be a clear event, a perpetrator, and perhaps a legal process, the nature of MKUltra involvement is often shrouded in secrecy, making it difficult to identify precisely what happened, who was responsible, or why. This lack of clear boundaries and verifiable facts can make it challenging to process the trauma and move towards a sense of completion or resolution. The uncertainty itself becomes a source of ongoing stress. Was it MKUltra? Or something similar? Were the memories real or implanted? Who were the individuals involved? These unanswered questions can haunt alleged victims for years, preventing them from fully processing their experiences and moving forward. The destruction of records and the official secrecy surrounding MKUltra mean that definitive answers may never be available for many. This requires alleged victims to find ways to make peace with the uncertainty and find closure, not through definitive answers, but through processing the emotional impact of their experiences and building a life in the present. This might involve shifting the focus from proving specific historical claims to focusing on psychological healing and reclaiming their sense of self and agency. Finding meaning in their experiences is another important aspect of the healing process. For some, this might involve becoming advocates for others, sharing their stories to raise awareness and prevent future abuses. For others, it might involve focusing on personal growth and resilience, finding strength and purpose in overcoming adversity. The process of finding meaning is deeply personal and varies from individual to individual. The role of community and connection is vital in this process. Connecting with other alleged victims provides a sense of belonging and validation that can be profoundly healing. Sharing stories, experiences, and coping strategies creates a sense of solidarity and reduces feelings of isolation. These communities become a source of strength and support in navigating the ongoing challenges of living with the legacy of trauma. The fight for historical acknowledgement and public awareness is a collective effort. By working together, alleged victims and their advocates can challenge the silence and secrecy surrounding MKUltra and demand that the historical record reflects the human cost of these programs. This includes pushing for further declassification of documents, supporting independent research, and advocating for educational initiatives that inform the public about this dark chapter in history. The ultimate goal is not just to expose the past, but to learn from it and prevent similar abuses from happening in the future. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of safeguarding human rights, promoting transparency and accountability in government, and protecting the vulnerability of the human mind. Their stories are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable trauma and the unwavering pursuit of truth and justice. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be relegated to the past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding that we acknowledge the human cost of clandestine programs and work towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The resilience and determination of alleged victims are an inspiration, pushing for a more ethical and just world. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives. They are a vital part of a larger, unfinished historical record that demands to be acknowledged and understood. The journey towards healing is complex and multifaceted, involving not only individual therapy, but also community support, historical research, and advocacy. It is a journey that requires immense courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The struggle for healing is deeply personal, yet it is also intrinsically linked to the broader societal context of historical truth and accountability. For many alleged victims, individual therapy is a vital component of their healing journey. Working with a therapist who is knowledgeable about complex trauma, dissociation, and the potential effects of coercive control can provide a safe and supportive environment to explore their fragmented memories and process the associated emotions. Therapists can help individuals develop coping mechanisms, build resilience, and work towards integrating their experiences into a more coherent sense of self. However, individual therapy alone is often not sufficient. The unique challenges faced by alleged victims, such as the lack of external validation and the difficulty in distinguishing between real and potentially manipulated memories, require a broader approach that includes community support and historical context. Connecting with other alleged victims provides a sense of belonging and validation that is crucial for healing. Sharing stories and experiences with others who have gone through similar trauma can reduce feelings of isolation and self-doubt. Support groups offer a space where individuals can feel understood, believed, and supported in their journey. The historical context of MK Ultra provides a framework for understanding the plausibility of alleged victims' experiences. Learning about the documented history of the program, the types of experiments conducted, and the facilities and personnel potentially involved can help individuals make sense of their fragmented memories and place them within a historical context. This knowledge can be empowering, transforming confusing and terrifying personal experiences into something that can be understood within a larger historical narrative. The pursuit of historical truth, through researching declassified documents, connecting with other alleged victims, and engaging with historians and researchers, is an integral part of the healing process for many. It is a way of reclaiming their history and demanding that their experiences be acknowledged as part of the historical record. Advocacy plays a crucial role in this process. By speaking out, sharing their stories, and advocating for greater transparency and accountability, alleged victims and their allies are pushing for systemic change. They are demanding that government agencies be held accountable for past abuses, and that measures are put in place to prevent similar programs from happening in the future. Their advocacy efforts contribute to a broader movement for human rights, ethical research practices, and government transparency. The process of healing is not about forgetting the past or erasing the trauma. It is about integrating the experiences into one's life story in a way that allows for healing and growth. It is about transforming from a victim of trauma into a survivor who has found ways to cope, build resilience, and live a meaningful life in the aftermath of their experiences. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. They are a powerful reminder of the importance of acknowledging even the darkest chapters of history and working towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding attention, understanding, and a commitment to justice and accountability. The resilience and determination of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing are an inspiration, pushing for a more ethical and just world. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives. They are a vital part of a larger, unfinished historical record that demands to be acknowledged and understood. The journey towards healing is complex and multifaceted, involving not only individual therapy, but also community support, historical research, and advocacy. It is a journey that requires immense courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The difficulty of verifying accounts of alleged MK Ultra involvement stems not only from the deliberate destruction of records, but also from the very nature of the alleged techniques used. If programs involved sensory deprivation, drug-induced states, hypnosis, or electroshock to induce amnesia or create dissociative states, it is inherently difficult for individuals to recall these experiences clearly or chronologically. The fragmented and confusing nature of the memories themselves can be seen as a potential indicator, rather than a disqualifier, of exposure to such techniques. This creates a complex paradox. The more effective the alleged manipulation was at creating confusion and memory gaps, the harder it is for the alleged victim to provide clear and verifiable proof. This puts alleged victims in a difficult position, where the very symptoms of their trauma can be used to question the validity of their claims. This is where the consistency of certain themes, symbols, and procedures across independent accounts becomes important. When multiple individuals who have had no prior contact report similar fragmented memories of sterile environments, specific types of equipment, repetitive phrases, or unusual symbols, it lends a degree of credibility to the possibility of shared experiences within a clandestine program, even if the specific details remain fragmented and difficult to verify. The scientific and clinical communities are increasingly recognizing the importance of listening to survivor accounts, even when those accounts are fragmented or contain elements that are difficult to explain within conventional frameworks. While maintaining scientific rigor and avoiding the promotion of unsubstantiated claims, there is a growing understanding that the subjective experiences of individuals, particularly those reporting trauma, should be taken seriously and explored with compassion and an open mind. The focus shifts from demanding definitive proof of historical events to understanding the psychological impact of the belief that one was subjected to such experiences and providing support for the healing process. This approach acknowledges the reality of the individual's suffering and the validity of their emotional and psychological responses, regardless of whether every aspect of their memory can be externally verified. The ethical imperative to address the legacy of MK Ultra and similar programs remains strong. Even if the full scope of activities and the identity of all those affected can never be definitively known, The documented history is sufficient to warrant ongoing efforts to acknowledge the harm caused, support those who believe they were affected, and prevent similar abuses in the future. The stories and fragmented memories of alleged victims are a crucial part of this ongoing effort. They humanize the abstract history of government experimentation and remind us of the profound and lasting impact of such programs on individual lives. Their resilience in the face of trauma and skepticism is a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit and the importance of truth and justice. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The fight for acknowledgement and understanding continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The search for understanding is often driven by a deep-seated need to make sense of experiences that feel alien and disturbing. Alleged victims may spend years trying to piece together their fragmented memories, searching for logical explanations for the strange things they recall. This can involve extensive research into the documented history of MKUltra, related government programs, and even seemingly unrelated topics that might shed light on the symbols, procedures, or environments they remember. The process can be both frustrating and illuminating, with moments of discovery interspersed with dead ends and conflicting information. The internet has played a significant role in this search, providing access to declassified documents, historical archives, and online communities where individuals can connect with others who have similar experiences. However, the internet also presents challenges, as it is a breeding ground for unsubstantiated theories and misinformation, making it difficult for individuals to discern credible information from speculation. Navigating this complex information landscape requires critical thinking skills and the ability to evaluate sources carefully. The support of researchers, historians, and journalists who are knowledgeable about MKUltra and its history can be invaluable in this process. These individuals can help alleged victims access relevant information, understand the historical context, and evaluate the credibility of different sources. Collaboration between alleged victims and researchers can lead to new insights and a more comprehensive understanding of the program's impact. The legal landscape for alleged victims remains challenging. While some individuals have pursued legal action, obtaining compensation or accountability through the courts is difficult due to the destruction of records, the statute of limitations, and the inherent challenges of proving claims related to subjective experiences and manipulated memory. Advocacy efforts continue to explore alternative avenues for redress, such as legislative action, truth and reconciliation commissions, or other forms of restorative justice. The goal is to provide a pathway for alleged victims to receive acknowledgement for the harm they have suffered and access to the support and resources they need for healing. The ongoing debate about the full scope of MKUltra and the veracity of alleged victim accounts highlights the importance of open dialogue and critical inquiry. While it is essential to approach all claims with a degree of healthy skepticism and to avoid promoting unsubstantiated conspiracy theories, it is equally important not to dismiss the experiences of individuals who are grappling with the profound and lasting effects of trauma that may be linked to clandestine programs. The stories of alleged victims, though fragmented and sometimes difficult to verify, are a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance against the abuse of power and the importance of protecting human rights in the name of national security or scientific advancement. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives. They are a collective call for transparency, accountability, and a commitment to learning from the mistakes of the past. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The resilience and determination of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing are an inspiration, pushing for a more ethical and just world. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives. They are a vital part of a larger, unfinished historical record that demands to be acknowledged and understood. The journey towards healing is complex and multifaceted, involving not only individual therapy, but also community support, historical research, and advocacy. It is a journey that requires immense courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MKUltra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The pursuit of acknowledgement is not solely directed at government institutions. For many alleged victims, the greatest pain comes from the lack of understanding and belief from their own families and friends. Disclosing experiences that sound like something out of a science fiction movie can be met with skepticism, fear, or even outright rejection from loved ones. This can lead to profound feelings of isolation and alienation, adding another layer to their trauma. Family members may struggle to reconcile the person they know with the terrifying and unbelievable experiences being described. They may fear for their loved one's mental health, or they may simply find the claims too difficult to accept. This lack of support from within their closest circle can be devastating for alleged victims. Healing often involves navigating these challenging family dynamics, finding ways to communicate their experiences in a way that promotes understanding, and seeking support from those who are willing to listen and believe them. For some, this may mean setting boundaries with family members who are unwilling or unable to provide support, and finding validation within communities of other alleged victims or understanding professionals. The intergenerational impact of trauma is particularly relevant here. If parents or grandparents experienced trauma related to MK-Ultra or similar programs and were unable to process or discuss it, the effects can ripple through generations, creating a climate of fear, secrecy, and unresolved pain within families. Children and grandchildren may inherit the emotional burden, the distrust of authority, and the fragmented family narratives without fully understanding the source of this pain. Addressing this intergenerational trauma requires open communication, access to resources for all affected family members, and a willingness to confront difficult truths about the past. Support networks that include family members of alleged victims can provide a space for shared understanding and healing. The focus shifts from blaming individuals to understanding the systemic factors that contributed to the trauma and its intergenerational transmission. The process of breaking the cycle of silence and secrecy within families is crucial for healing and preventing the perpetuation of trauma. The fragmented memories of alleged victims are not just individual psychological phenomena, they are also deeply embedded within family systems and intergenerational dynamics. Understanding their experiences requires considering the impact not only on the individual, but also on their relationships and family history. The ongoing struggle for acknowledgement and understanding is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring need for truth and connection. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding that we acknowledge the human cost of clandestine programs and work towards a future where such violations are never repeated. The resilience and determination of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing are an inspiration, pushing for a more ethical and just world. Their fragmented memories are not just personal narratives. They are a vital part of a larger, unfinished historical record that demands to be acknowledged and understood. The journey towards healing is complex and multifaceted, involving not only individual therapy, but also community support, historical research, and advocacy. It is a journey that requires immense courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK-Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for recognition is not just about the past, it's about preventing future abuses. Alleged victims and their advocates highlight how the secrecy and lack of accountability surrounding programs like MK Ultra create a fertile ground for similar activities to occur again. Without full transparency and acknowledgement of past harms, there is a risk that the lessons learned will be forgotten and the same mistakes will be repeated. The ethical considerations surrounding government-funded research, particularly in areas involving human subjects and psychological manipulation, remain highly relevant. The debate over balancing national security interests with individual rights and freedoms is ongoing. The experiences of alleged MK Ultra victims serve as a stark reminder of the potential for egregious violations when this balance is not carefully maintained and subject to robust oversight. Advocacy efforts focus on pushing for stronger ethical guidelines for government research, increased transparency in classified programs, and independent oversight mechanisms to prevent abuses. They also emphasize the importance of informed consent in all research involving human subjects, a fundamental principle that was flagrantly disregarded in many documented MK Ultra experiments. The long-term health and psychological consequences experienced by alleged victims underscore the need for ongoing support and resources. Access to specialized trauma therapy, medical care for chronic health issues, and financial assistance are crucial for helping individuals rebuild their lives. The lack of a formal acknowledgement or compensation mechanism for many alleged victims means that these resources are often difficult to access. Advocacy efforts aim to address these systemic barriers and ensure that those who believe they were harmed by government programs receive the support they need. The fragmented memories of alleged victims, while challenging to verify, are a powerful source of information about the potential human cost of clandestine programs. Listening to their stories, exploring the common themes and patterns in their accounts, and comparing them with the documented history of MK Ultra and related programs can provide valuable insights into the methods, goals, and impact of these activities. While caution is needed to avoid promoting unsubstantiated claims, dismissing all such accounts out of hand risks silencing important voices and burying uncomfortable truths about the past. The process of historical inquiry and memory recovery is ongoing. New documents are occasionally declassified, and ongoing research by historians and journalists continues to shed light on different aspects of MK Ultra and related programs. Alleged victims and their advocates play a vital role in this ongoing process, sharing their personal experiences and contributing to a more comprehensive understanding of this dark chapter in history. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a specific historical period, but the questions they raise about government power, secrecy, and human rights remain highly relevant in the present day. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims serve as a haunting reminder of the potential for abuse and the enduring importance of vigilance, transparency, and accountability. Their resilience and determination in seeking truth and healing are an inspiration, pushing for a more ethical and just world where the lessons of the past are learned and similar abuses are never repeated. The fight for acknowledgement and understanding continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice. The fragmented memories of alleged MK Ultra victims are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The act of speaking out, of sharing their stories, even in fragments, is an act of profound courage and resistance against the forces that sought to silence and erase them. It is a way of reclaiming their narrative, their dignity, and their place in history. The impact on their lives is a stark reminder of the long shadow cast by secret government programs and the enduring need for vigilance and accountability. Their fragmented memories are a powerful call to action, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and work towards a future where such abuses are never repeated. The sterile corridors and humming machines may be symbols of a dark past, but their echoes continue to resonate, demanding acknowledgement and understanding. The resilience of alleged victims in their pursuit of truth and healing is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Their fragmented memories are a powerful force, pushing for light to be shed on a dark chapter of history. The fight for truth and acknowledgement continues, driven by the voices of those who refuse to be silenced and who are determined to ensure that their experiences are not erased from the historical record. The process of healing is a lifelong journey, but for many alleged victims, it is a journey undertaken with courage, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in the importance of truth and justice.